Hey guys, I'm Janet on occasion, and today we're playing another Total War Warhammer II Battle Replay. So this one is, so I've basically, recently I've obviously shown vampire counts getting beaten up by all kinds of factions. So today it's the vampire count's turn to try and achieve victory. So here you can see I have some Graveguard, some Sternsmen, some more Graveguard, lots of Spearmen in the back, as well as the Claw and a Gash. I have a Banshee, and I have Vlad von Carstein leading them. In the back I have the Die Pack. Great anti-large, love these guys, they're the best. And also some direwolves. I also have Varix Reavers. So as you can see, not a lot of anti-large, really. Not good anti-large. I mean, yeah, I've got the anti-large, the Dire Pack, and I have some Spearmen that are alright, but, you know, I don't have any, like, Blood Knights or Terrorgeists or, you know, anything sort of big and scary that can take on cavalry, which is, I think is a problem. We'll get to that. So, yeah, here we go. 3 units of Dragon Princes. Oh no. And also some Illyrian Reaver Archers, which can be a real nuisance. Also, they have a Noble escorting them in the front as well, so, you know, very cool. Obviously, good anti-large as well on the Noble, and armor piercing, pretty handy. He's got a load of Spearmen in the front. He's got some Loathen Sea Guard there and there. In the middle, he's got a Princess, so she's on a horse, so she's going to be shooting away with a bow. And being a bit of a nuisance, I won't be able to catch her very well. Also, he's got a Mage of High Magic, so the reason why he had this little fella is basically for Tempest. He's also got Apotheosis for healing people. But that Tempest is going to be great if I brought a load of Terrorgeists, but I didn't. He's also got some more Spearmen in the back. So, but yeah, so most of his strategy is going to rely on these Dragon Princes, I feel. So we're going to speed things up and see how it goes. So, straight away, you can see he's going to be charging, you know, into the front lines. And here I actually sent in the Banshee to ruin the charge, and I use Master of Beguilement, which is actually going to put their melee attack down to 0, which is pretty sweet. So these guys aren't going to be doing a whole lot of damage to me. So as you can see, they've done a bit of damage to the Sternsmen. I'm going to get that back anyway. And they're already taking a ton of damage. On the other sides, though, yeah, I mean, they got a little bit of a victory out of it, but nothing major. And you can see Varix Reavers are under attack from the Illyrian Reaver Archers, which is a bit of a problem. But here, look how much damage has been caused here to these Dragon Princes. It's fantastic. You know, I'm sapping their health with the Claw and a Gash. The Hounds are keeping up with them, attacking them in the rear, and there's so many Spearmen. He's so spread out, it's going to be really hard for him to maneuver. So here, unfortunately, he does charge the Skeleton Spearmen. I think I did press backspace to get them to stop. I'm not sure they were braced for that. So that much better charge there. And also my Graveguard are taking some damage. But as you can see, he's actually already had a unit Dragon Princes terrified. There's only 23 models left there. And now I'm going to turn my attention onto the Noble, who is a little bit caught out now. So that's pretty great. But Archers are starting to fire, so they're going to get some good damage into my infantry, which is a bit of a problem. So that's not fun. One of my Spearmen nearly taken out, but, you know, it's half health. They're not crumbling or anything, so they're going to replenish a lot of that health, which is nice. The Illyrian Reaver Archers just shooting into the backs of my guys, you know, into my Varix Reavers. It's a bit annoying, but Varix Reavers do have bronze shields, and they got a fair bit of armor, so they should be alright. So over on this side, still with the Dragon Princes charging in, but his Noble's almost out of the picture already, which is pretty sweet. So yeah, Vlad and the Banshee hitting him very hard. He's bogged down by all the Die Pack and the Direwolves, so that's pretty sweet. And here I am starting to get some good damage onto some more units. Here I did actually charge my Varix Reavers in to try and bog these guys down a bit. So, you know, a lot of these guys are a little bit caught out. Still on 41 models, though. So I haven't done a lot of damage to them yet. These ones down to 23 models, which is great. And now things are starting to get a little bit messy. So I have a load of you know, units sort of bogging down his Spearmen, but his Spearmen will win out against, you know, my Spearmen. The Graveguard will do some significant damage to them, though. So, once again, you can see Dragon Princes charging in, the other Dragon Princes, the very injured ones, charging in as well. And here I actually use Curse of Years, so it's going to lower their melee attack and speed, which means that my Hounds should be able to keep pace with them very well. But a lot of Archer fire landing on my Hounds. My Hounds are pretty fragile, you know, very, very good damage, but fragile. So here, Varix Reavers, they're trying to fight the Dragon Princes. Frankly, Varix Reavers, they're not really built for this, but they do have pretty good armor, so, and pretty good charge bonus, so they are actually going to do a lot of damage to these Dragon Princes before they're taken out. Unfortunately, still being bothered by these Lothern Sea Guard, which is very irritating. Now these guys are coming in, but those Dragon Princes are basically out now, which is awesome. So Die Pack still chasing, Banshee's still chasing, my other Hounds chasing as well, just trying to get as much damage into these guys as possible. Over on this side, a load of Spearmen bogging down a load of my guys, and they are getting recharged by the one, you know, sort of healthiest unit of Dragon Princes and getting shot in the back. So things aren't looking great here, but frankly, this isn't too bad for me. I'm wrapping up a lot of his units, a lot of expense while I'm dealing with other problems. So over here, I've got Vlad wading in, summoned some zombies in the back, so these guys are going to start getting a bit, you know, bit worried about the rear attacks, and the terror from the Mortis engine is going to start breaking these guys, and they're going to have to run through some of the zombies or split up, and you see I'm getting a lot of their units killed as they're running, which is pretty great. So that blob of his infantry has collapsed. Over on this side, I did try and get into these other Loathe and Seaguard. A lot of hounds in here. You know, the dire wolves, Varix Reavers. I don't really want Varix Reavers fighting in there too long because of the anti-large, but I really want to stop them firing at things. So here I'm actually charging the dire pack away. I'm pretty sure I'll get an invocation of heck on top of them, try and stop them. And here I am leading him straight into you know, a load of my units here. So and curving around while he's still attacking. He is actually getting a bit spread out with this this formation, so I'm going to get a lot more hits on him. Varix Reavers sandwiching in a load of them in the back. Master of Beguilement goes down once more, puts their melee attack down to, you guessed it, 0. So suddenly they're very ineffective. They only really have their charge bonus to lean on, and that goes down pretty quickly after the initial charge. So those Dragon Princes, incredibly hurt and somewhat surrounded. Varix Reavers really helping to, you know, stop their retreat. Also, Claw and a Gash slowing things down is going to put their speed down quite a bit. So yeah, their speed is at, hard to tell. Where are they? Did these get wiped out? Surely I didn't wipe out the whole unit. My word, did I? Blimey. Alright, well that went pretty well. Okay, so anyway, these Dragon Princes. Speed 78 at the moment. I think they're still out of range of the Mortis engine though, which is annoying. But still, they're so damaged. It's pretty great. So here I see the other Dragon Princes charging in, so I summon some zombies to break their charge. So always with the hindering the Dragon Princes. You know, there's so much money invested in these Dragon Princes. The less effective I can make them, the better. So still though, you know, with the Princess firing in, getting some good damage with her, you know, her ranged attacks. Over here, I've got the Banshee trying to bog down these Loathe and Seaguard and the Spearmen, which is good. You know, if it stops the Loathe and Seaguard firing into this mass, that's a good thing. But it's probably not the best thing. The Banshee is going to be great at hunting down things like the Dragon Princes, if there are any left. Yeah, there we go, there's some. So, a bit of a shame. Amazingly, these Graveguard have managed to hold out for this long. This big blob of mine, it's held up 3 units of Spearmen. That would have been great for pinning stuff in place, you know, for the charging. So, it's gone pretty well so far. But, you know, a lot of my units are pretty injured, but I still have a very healthy Claw and a Gash. My Lord is still totally fine. The die pack, amazingly, are still going. So, there we go. Mortis engine was hitting them there. No, it wasn't. I'm trying to see what their speed is when the Mortis engine is near enough, but I keep missing it. Anyway, so here, I'm going to go for the High Mage. You can see, suddenly, a load of Spearmen are free, which is not good. I don't want them charging in and getting my Dire Pack and my Varix Reavers, especially with the charge from the Dragon Princes. This was a bit of a... yeah, this was bold of me to try and do this. Yeah, I'm probably going to lose some units here. But, you know, still damaging the Dragon Princes, so that's nice. And also, use a Curse of Years again. So that puts their melee attack down to 0. I'll use Master of Beguilement on them too. So that puts them down to 0. Melee attack on these guys down to 0. Everything has melee attack 0 in this blob. So, yeah, bit scary. See all this stuff, but now I've made them all completely useless. Yeah. Vlad is very good at making the enemy useless. Which is amazing, because, you know, he's just crazy good duelist, you know. He doesn't need all these extras to help him perform well. But obviously he's not very mobile, so you gotta get value out of him somehow, right? So yeah, now that has worn off though, but we're starting to see some terror hitting from the Claw and a Gash, and the Illyrian Reaver Archers have actually used all of their ammunition up, which is amazing. So that's pretty great. So he's having to charge them in. My Spearmen are starting to struggle, but they're only Spearmen. Very good hit from the Princess with, I can't remember what that ability's called. It's that, you know, she's got a special shot. But anyway, did a load of damage to the Claw and a Gash. Illyrian Reavers already lost half their unit from charging, and they shatter, as does everything else. Frankly, just army losses were too much, so when stuff started terror routing, it was enough to cause, you know, a real chain rout. So, Pyrrhic victory for the Vampire Counts, and this was a hell of a fun one. I was actually playing against Atticus, who's been on the channel before. I've played with him a few times. We played some custom battles together. He's a good guy. But yeah, I decided I'd try out the Vampire Counts against him with some tricksy business. And, you know, he was prepared for a lot in this engagement. You know, he had the healing with the Wizard. He had a lot of ranged units that could, you know, harass, which was very good, as well as having some anti-large, you know, on the Loathe and Seaguard. So it meant if I did, you know, catch him with anything big, he'd be able to fight them off pretty well, which is nice. But, yeah, all of his investment went to these Dragon Princes, and the unit that charged into the middle, 8 kills. The next one I caught out, you know, focused on, 53 kills. Just wherever I had Vlad, it just ruined their effectiveness. These Dragon Princes did a great job. They were the ones that were charging into the rear the formation that his spearmen were fighting, and those 3 units of spearmen he had held out for a hell of a long time, were still pretty damn healthy, thanks to the Dragon Princes diminishing the numbers of what they were fighting. But I just had this horrible, horrible goon squad of, the Claw and Gash, Vlad, the Banshee, and all the dire wolves, catching things out, and, being able to chase things that had been slowed down. So it meant that cycle charging became really tough. Because, yeah, I was just nipping at his heels every time he tried to run away. I was able to slow him down with both Cursed Years and the Claw and Gash, constantly lowering their melee attack whenever they charged. So it just made his cavalry really ineffective. So, I think, I mean, could he have turned this around? I don't know. It's a tough one to call, because this seems weirdly effective against the High Elves. But I still think he could have done a bit better. If he'd actually just sent his spearmen in sort of more of a line, not a complete line. You don't want to, get hit by something like Wind of Death. But then you can check. If you can see the enemy lord, you can click I. Or not click, you can press I, you can look at their, what they brought, and he would have seen that I didn't bring Wind of Death. So he could have actually, gone in a bit of a line, spread out my formation, and just sort of pinned my stuff in place, with his spearmen. Got the Loathen Sea Guard fighting at whatever vital target he wanted to get rid of first, and he could have been rear charging, all across the line with the Dragon Princes. But he was going for a more delaying strategy. Use the Dragon Princes just to smash as much as possible, and then sandwich me in, with the spearmen. But it just didn't work out. The way I was using all the debuffs, it proved incredibly tough. So there are ways, to deal with the High Elves. It's a rough one though. It's definitely a rough one for vampire counts usually. But this seems to work out pretty well. If you just Death Star it, it's pretty rough for the High Elves. Obviously, if the High Elves have got things like dragons. Then get those breath attacks. You can just charge into things like the Claw and the Gash, but you're gonna have so much problems with the Dire Pack and the Dire Wolves. They will just stay on your heels. It is so difficult to take off again once you land with a dragon. So it could be pretty tough. Also, you notice I didn't bring any ethereal units. Pretty much, 90% of the time, High Elves are going to delete them. If they bring Techless, they're just going to hit you either with Flock of Doom, which is going to do a hell of a lot of damage, or they can use Flaming Sword of Ruin on their front line, and all the magic attacks are just going to murder any ethereal units you might bring. It makes it incredibly difficult. So, yeah, no ethereal units. Don't try and bring ethereal units to vampire counts. It is a bad idea. So, yeah, it was a pretty fun one though. So thanks, Atticus. It was a blast. So guys, if you enjoyed this, please do comment, like, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Have a good day, guys.